Well, it's going to be May, and now it definitely is. Welcome to Culturally Appropriate on this rainy late spring day. I'm obviously your host, Jerod Hollyfield, and we thought we'd kick off May with kind of a fun show. I mean, we're getting to a point now where there's going to be a festival or seven every weekend, and so much to do in the Nashville area and the greater Middle Tennessee area that what I'd like to do today is talk to an amazing middle school teacher and the wonderful story of how he started a pickle club at his middle school that has crossed all boundaries and that has become a major community event in the city of Cookeville. So you're going to hear from Ryan Dalton about the ATMS, the Avery Trace Middle School Pickle Festival, that's taking place tomorrow morning starting at 10 a.m. in Cookeville at the middle school. And after we hear from Ryan, we're going to do a weekly film rundown. This is technically the first week of the summer movie season, so we're going to run by a lot of the options that are there this week and talk maybe a little bit about some stuff that's coming up in the future. So let's go ahead and get started. I talked to Ryan a little bit earlier this week because of the fact that he's a middle school teacher, and none of us want our middle school teachers taking the middle of the day off to be on a live stream. So Ryan was nice enough and gracious enough to talk to me on Tuesday night, and I'm really looking forward to sharing that conversation with you. So let's go ahead and get to it. Well, we are thrilled to have our special guest, Ryan Dalton, teacher at Avery Trace Middle School and founder of the ATMS Pickle Club, along with his students, which some of our viewers might be asking, what is a middle school doing with a pickle club? How did this come to be? Well, Ryan is here to tell us all about it, as well as the second annual ATMS Pickle Festival, which is going to be coming up on Saturday in Cookeville. So, Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so I've written for the Pamphleteer for about 3 years, and one of my favorite experiences was coming out super early to Cookeville, meeting your students last year, and writing the article in the praise of pickles, which I had a fabulous time. My wife took some pictures when we were down there, and these are just a great group of kids. And I was just really impressed with the rapport, because typically when we think middle school, a lot of times we don't think that, that is really the best time of our lives. But I was just so impressed with the interest these kids had, so impressed with the relationship that they had with you. So how did the Pickle Club get started at Avery Trace Middle School?
So it all started by accident, and that's kind of the funny thing with the Pickle Club. It started with, we have a local establishment here called Slice, and they have a pickle pizza. And not last school year, but the school year before last, over Christmas break, I went to Slice and I found out that they have this pickle pizza. And there was a student at the time, I believe he was in 6th grade at the time, who was like avid pickle lover. At lunchtime, all the kids would give him their pickles, and his tray would just have this mountain of pickles on it, pickle mountain. And he would like pull them out of his pocket throughout the day and just be munching on pickles in the classroom and in the hallways. So when I saw this pizza at Slice, I was like, oh my gosh, this kid would love this. So I texted his mom a picture and I said, I think Kaden would love this thing. This is amazing. And so he started texting me from her phone. He's like, I want to try it. This is good. That looks good. So when we came back from Christmas break, I bought one of these for lunch one day. And so it was him, one of his friends, and then 2 of my colleagues. And we just sat down, ate this pickle pizza, and we all loved it. We were all kind of pickle lovers. And so we were just like, oh, what are other pickle things we could try? And I talked about how when I taught in Montgomery, Alabama, kids, there's this theme of kids pulling out pickles in class. But anyways, the kids would eat these Kool-Aid pickles, and they would pull out these like bright red or bright purple pickles. And so I was telling them about that. I was like, we can maybe try Kool-Aid pickles. And one of them, as a joke, said, we should start a pickle club where we try all these pickle things. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So it was a total joke. One of those things that most normal people would just like say that and never remember that again. Well, I'm kind of like not a normal person. So I printed these shirts that say ATMS Pickle Club. And this is like the original shirt. I printed it online and I got it for just that group of people. And so on the next Friday, not the next one, but a couple of Fridays after we got the shirts, we all wore them, and everybody was like what is the pickle club? I want to be in the pickle club. So it was just this thing, and it was exciting. And this is also coming out of the pandemic, and not a lot had happened. Like most of the sports had kind of toned down. None of the clubs were active. So this was like something exciting, I guess. And so I started kind of joking about it more, and I bought this pickle suit, and I would stand in the hallway and I would be like, join the pickle club, and like in the morning at like 7 in the morning. And kids started expressing serious interest in this pickle club, and I had no idea what that would even be. So I put out an interest form, and within a day there were about 100 kids who had signed up. And in like a couple of days we had around 300 kids sign up to say they wanted to join the pickle club. So the rest is history. We've done a lot of pickly stuff since then.
So I was shocked when I went out, because when I met you, it was like 7 in the morning, like you said.
Yeah.
And there were easily like 16 kids waiting at 7 in the morning to meet with me. And then I was doubly shocked because whenever you talk about like a middle school event, like any kind of festival that happens, you're expecting, oh, there's some parents that are going to stop by, some people. I went to this first Pickle Festival last April, and it's one of the best attended festivals that I've ever been to. I mean, I cover a lot of these events for the Pamphleteer, but outside of maybe the Middle Tennessee Strawberry Festival, which has about 48 years on you, this thing was like 3,000 people came out to the Pickle Festival last year. Is that right?
Yeah, we, I had no way of getting a count, so I was just kind of dizzy the whole day. But one of the vendors who does a lot of festivals kind of have their way of keeping tabs, and they said it was easy over 3,000 people. And we also raised around $12,000 for the school, which was great.
So last year you were all working to get the football field refinished at ATMS. Is that still the goal this year, or have you moved on to other fundraising projects?
Yeah, I had hoped that we could move on to the band, because it's really, it's like all the different types of extracurricular activities that really help improve our school spirit. So I'd hoped this year to support the band. But I found out that the money that we raised last year wasn't even able to be utilized yet because we didn't get quite enough to do what we wanted to do. And I thought, I don't want it to just sit there and be buffering forever. So let's go ahead this year and put the money to that so we can finish what we started. So it will go. And so the field, it is the football field, but what the helicopter was on last year was the football field, and right next to it where all the vendor booths are is actually our soccer field that is barely used. It's just used for practice because it's not in great shape. And then what is the sort of concrete parking lot there is going to be this summer built into a softball field. So one of the things that the money will go towards is a bathroom facility, which the city, for whatever reason, did not think that they should have to pay for, or the school board, which I have my feelings on that, but whatever. So it won't just be for the football team. It's for like kind of like softball, girls soccer, boys soccer, football, and baseball can all utilize this kind of what will now be a sports complex. So it'll go towards bleachers for the football field, but then also the bathroom and stuff like that.
That's great. And what's interesting whenever you think about the Pickle Club, I'm just thinking back to my own experience in middle school, which I don't think was particularly good or bad, but I remember it being really shaped by a lot of cliques, a lot of students sort of finding their identities, developing their tastes. Your club doesn't really have a demographic outside of middle schoolers. I mean, there are football players, there are like kids that are into fantasy stuff, there are the sons and daughters of farmers that are really into like 4-H and agriculture type activities. Yeah. So like, what is it about pickles that is this great middle school unifier?
You hit the nail on the head with middle school. It's just one of those things that I'm glad to hear for you that it wasn't neither too terrible, but I'm maybe not glad to hear that it wasn't great. But like, it is a very hard time, but it's also like a time where you kind of just need some goofiness. There's a lot of goofiness, and the pickle. I had no idea that pickle was such a united force, but it brings out strong feelings either way. People are either like, I love pickles or I hate pickles. And that's one of the things I realized very early on, that it's like could be this very polarizing thing where a lot of people are just like, this is goofy, I want to be a part of it. But it's also like either people love pickles or hate pickles. There's really no like people who are like, take it or leave it, It's like there's this strong feelings. So I also kind of did this thing where I included the hatred for pickles in the pickle club. Like we love pickle haters because they give us their pickles. So it ended up just being this kind of, I don't know, symbol or platform for any type of kid. And we really do draw like every type of kid, from kids who have zero other places in the school. I mean, there's some really interesting stories of kids who have nothing else going on the school level, and they claim the pickle club for that. And then kids who like are involved in all the clubs. I mean, we have a kid, Taylor Chin. He is like, I call him the smartest kid in the world, but he is like so smart. He traveled overseas to Rome to compete in this world history competition, and he won and all this stuff. And he's like, he's involved. We have, like you said, football players. It's a wide range. So yeah, pickles are, I don't know, unifying somehow.
I remember talking to him last year, and he was like telling the class about all of the like legal history of this particular element of why why Pickle the goat needs to run for office.
Exactly. Yeah, he researched that. He found out somewhere either a dog or a goat became mayor somewhere, and since then he has really been dedicated to trying to get our mascot Pickle the goat as the Cookeville mayor, which maybe the mayor is not up for election yet, but I think we're going to try it. We'll at least start the campaign.
Maybe county commission or something like that. Yeah. So Pickle the goat is your mascot, and I think that's like what's kicking off the morning on Saturday. But there's a special milestone for Pickle the goat that happened in between last year's festival and this year's festival. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Pickle got pregnant by Peanut, which is actually Pickle's brother. So I'm not going to get it too much into that. But Pickle got pregnant and had a beautiful little baby Gherkin. And so not only will Pickle be there this year, but Gherkin will also be there for the meet and greet. So we're very excited about that. And last year we had I Love Pickle the Goat shirts. And we will have those again this year. But there's Pickle. This year we also have I Love Baby Gherkin shirts. And that is Simon Presley. That's our president of the Pickle Club. And he's actually also the owner of Pickle the Goat. So
I remember Simon too. So you've had a year now. Have some of the students that have gone to high school come back and helped? I'm just curious about that.
I've gotten some emails from some of them, which is funny. We have a student who's currently at Avery Trace, whose brother was in it last year, and they had like just moved from Arizona and got very involved in the Pickle Club. And it was like the perfect kind of landing pad for them to come into a new school. So they started kind of, I don't know if it was the beginning of the year, but they started kind of, I think middle of the year last year. And he's now at the high school. So he's contacted me about helping out with some stuff and come to some of our events. And I had a student contact me about trying to start it up at the high school, but it's a little more difficult because you need a teacher sponsor and all that. But yeah, we have a little bit of that going on. And then what was interesting this year is, so that's that end of the spectrum. We had this whole group of excited fifth graders coming up who are like the younger siblings who knew about the Pickle Club due to their older siblings. And this group of fifth graders this year is probably the most excited people about the Pickle Club. They're very excited.
So I noticed Davis has got some of the pictures last year from the pickle eating and the pickle brine drinking contest, which was one of the major things that you all offered as an activity. And it's kind of hilarious kind of seeing all of these 8 different age groups go for that. You'll notice that in these pictures, everybody's chugging some Mount Olive pickles or pickle brine. How did Mount Olive come aboard as the second official sponsor after Slice?
So Mount Olive, it's really funny. So in, accidentally starting a pickle club, I've reached out to pretty much every pickle company you can think of. And I was very shocked to receive some pretty, what I would consider, unhinged responses from some of these pickle companies. Like one is a American, but German style pickle. And the guy was like, well, tell your students to become welders and construction workers because I'm having to shut this company down and I will not be able to volunteer or anything pickles, give any pickles to you. And I was like, oh, okay. But it got real like weird. Like, I'm like, I was just asking for a sample or, whatever. But all that to say, I got a lot of strange responses from different pickle companies or no response. And then like a company like Grios, they sent a few things out and whatever, but Mount Olive from the beginning, without even us asking, like they just saw us on social media and stuff, and they just started sending us stuff. They would send the kids early on when we did last year we did Cooking with the Pickle Club video series. They sent this like Mount Olive prize package to some of the kids that had done some videos, and they would send like free pickles. They would send merchandise, and they were just very supportive. And then always online, they're like commenting and liking our stuff, and it was just really, they were just very supportive. So when it was time to kind of find sponsors for the Pickle Festival last year, I just reached out to them and I'm like, hey, we kind of already have this relationship, and I know you have a whole Pickle Festival in North Carolina, but would you be willing to be one of our sponsors? And they were like, or get involved in some way. And they were like, yeah, we want to be a bread and butter sponsor. So it was awesome.
That's great. Yeah, we have your magnet on our fridge by a couple of Mount Olive magnets in our little pickle section at the house. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I feel very good about Mount Olive as a company. Like they feel very like people first company. I don't know, companies are companies, but they have been so supportive and so kind and sent so much stuff that even if I kind of had the choice between buying another pickle that I might like a little more, I would buy the Mount Olive pickle just based on how supportive they've been. So,
yeah, I think the best thing that I've seen, and I will say, if you're on Facebook, follow the ATMS Pickle Club, because there have just been days that have been really crappy for me, and I see a cooking video or something like that, and I just start cracking up. But one of my favorites was whenever you sort of took one of the haters to task. He was complaining about how there were nothing but Mount Olive pickles, and you're just kind of thinking, like, what kind of person goes online and rants about a middle school pickle club?
Yeah,
I thought you all did an amazing job with just like good-naturedly ripping into her. So
yeah,
on that,
I tried to do it in like stay true to the middle school roast session vibes, but also not be too stay true to the pickle club vibes of positivity. I was towing the line.
I appreciated it. I completely cracked up. So something I did want to talk about though was just Cookeville in general. I don't like set out to cover Cookeville on my show and in the stuff that I write for the Pamphleteer, but it just keeps happening for some reason. So we did a story on Plenty Bookshop back during Christmas. We've talked to you. There seems to be a lot going on in Cookeville. There's also like a new B movie club called the TriStar Trash Cinema that meets at the library. So for a city of its size, there seems to be so much going on in the arts community and the culture community. Like, and you're from Cookeville originally, correct? Like you grew up here, and then I know you've had South Africa and Alabama, and you've journeyed around the world in the education field. But what is it about Cookeville that just seems to be this fertile ground for all of these weird, amazing things happening in terms of arts and culture?
I'm really not sure, except for it is probably the biggest city between Nashville and Knoxville. And I think we do not have a big city vibe, as you know, but I think people are close enough to either Nashville or Knoxville to sort of be able to go there if they want to, and then kind of have Cookeville as a middle ground. That might be it. I know we've, in the last, I would say 5 to 10 years, we've gotten a lot of transplants from other places out west and up north and places. And that's really shifting and changing sort of the real estate here in a negative way. But anyways, that's a whole other story. But I think there is this kind of concerted effort, especially on what they call the west side of Cookeville, to sort of make it this vibrant area. There's a lot of really new shops. I mean, like I think about Glass Tangerine and Father Tom's Pub and places like that, who are also all very big supporters of the Pickle Club. Um, but there's just this concerted effort to kind of create a vibe, and I think there are people that are actually trying to do that, and I think that plays a huge role in that.
Yeah, I mean, I was down there a couple of weeks ago, went into Glass Tangerine and Father Tom's. It's fun to go, and I mean, I feel like you're right. It's like an hour, 20 minutes. It's a nice day trip to take if you're in Nashville or Knoxville, because it's pretty much equidistant depending on which part of Nashville you're in from Nashville or Knoxville. Like 70 to 90 minutes
Yeah.
to be there, and it's a quick and easy drive back as well. So for people that might be planning on coming out and kicking off, a lot of colleges are ending next week, so you all are really the first big event of the summer. And I think we just finished up the Pamphleteers year-long, kickoff festival guide featuring all the festivals taking place between now until next April. So what can people look forward to that are planning on coming out this weekend at Avery Trace? So it is still at Avery Trace Middle, right?
Yeah, it's still in the same sports fields. We have more vendors this year than last year that have signed up. And I do think we did have a pretty good variety of pickle products last year, but there are more pickle products this year than last year. Of course, as I mentioned, Pickle the Goat and Baby Gherkin will be there. We will have the pickle competitions that we had last year. So there's 3 age groups of pickle eating competitions and then a pickle juice drinking competition. I have decided to take it down from the 64 ounce jug to a 20 ounce because even the winner, he won. And the rule was you had to drink it all without vomiting. And he won fair and square. And I put the medal on him and he did his, victory thing. And then immediately after that had to go around the stage and vomit. And I just feel like I already felt a little uneasy about that much pickle juice. So I took it down to 20 ounces. So it's more fair game now, I think, for other people. We'll have more bouncy houses for the kids this year, a couple additional bouncy houses than we did last year, a couple of extra games for the kids. And then just a lot of pickle fun this year. Last year, we had all this stuff, but there was no real competition amongst the vendors to see who has the best pickle product. So this year we introduced Best of the Pickle Fest. So we have 3 categories, which is sweet, savory, and then inedible, just products. So the festival goers can vote on which ones they think win, and then at the end of the day, we'll announce the winner. So yeah, those are some of the main things. We have a local music. They do music lessons, Cat Star Music. She also plays around town sometimes too. She's going to kick it off. They're going to have a booth there, but she's going to kick off the whole day by singing our actual alma mater. We have a Pickle Club alma mater, and she's going to sing it for us. So that's awesome. It'll be great to have her there. So yeah, that's kind of what you can expect, and lots of fun and lots of pickles.
Yeah, and I think if you click on the Pamphleteer article that I wrote last year, we did include the club singing the alma mater.
Oh yeah, awesome.
On the very bottom of it, so you can check that out. I don't think that it is iTunes ready, but it is right down there in the bottom of this article. So when you say pickle products, I don't think people who haven't been to this festival understand the avalanche of pickle products that are available.
Oh man.
I mean, I tried a pickle cupcake last year, and it was actually really good. It's not something that I've had since. I probably will have another one if they're available, but what types of pickle products are going to be available outside of actual pickles?
So let's start with kind of sweet stuff. I'm very excited because you might have seen on some of our social media pages, one of the local donut shops here, which happens to be my favorite donut shop in town, Big O's Donuts, has developed this pickle donut, and it is actually so incredible. I know I'm over the top with pickles, but I've tried anything and everything pickle that exists that I know of. People are constantly giving me stuff, but this donut really and truly is good. It is so good. So they developed it just for the Pickle Festival, and they had a couple of samples in the store on a couple of weekends. But besides that, you couldn't get it. And so it will be like an exclusive thing they have at the Pickle Festival. We have there's a lady, 50 Shades of Sweet, and she does these really great candy covered pickles, and then cotton candy covered pickles, and then she does these things called pretty pickles, which is a take on the Kool-Aid pickle. So they're these like mango Kool-Aid type pieces of pickles that are really good. And then she also has what's called a spicy bowl, which is savory. It's not sweet, but it's got this like, I guess, kind of hot sauce type vibes with pickled sausage in there as well. And then we have pickled snow cones from Kona Ice of Cookeville, and those are very good. I mean, it's just straight like pickle juice on ice, which sounds weird, but it's very refreshing. We have a lady that has a cart called Brandy's Lemonade, and she has this really good pickle lemonade. And actually, I was just at a festival on Saturday, a local festival, and she was there, and I tried it, and it was really, really good. We have a booth that is going to have fried pickles, Bouncin' Barbecue, Southern Bouncin' Barbecue. They have fried pickles, and I think they have I think they're the ones that have some type of like mac and cheese pickle situation. I'm not sure what that exactly is. And then there, let's see, there's like several like pickle hot dog type things. And then just like pickles, like actual pickles. People have, there's a couple of vendors that can their own pickles, and then we'll have a lot of Mount Olive stuff. Some of the kids will be doing some different pickle stuff with like Takis and tahine and all the stuff that they love to do. And then there's like the pickle merchandise that is you can't eat. So like pickle jewelry, pickle wax melts, pickle candles, pickle soap, pickle shirts. Yeah, like there's more hats. Like, yeah, there's a lot more.
And you have vendors too that aren't. I mean, if you're not pickle inclined, you can still go to the Pickle Festival and sort of get the regular festival vibe as well, from what I remember last year.
Absolutely. So I mean, a lot of the vendors, even with the like stuff that they're selling that is not edible, they will also have like their other stuff that they sell, like other T-shirts and other jewelry and stuff that you could buy. But also with the food vendors, we have, the barbecue food truck is really great barbecue, and they actually set up a lot of times at our football games, but they just have like just good legit barbecue. And then there's Phil Thai, which is like this like Filipino Thai restaurant, local restaurant that have a food truck. So they'll be there, and they actually have this really good fried pickle that is like a spear, and it's like they do it in a really interesting way, but they have a very interesting take on a fried pickle. But then they'll also have like the regular food, and Kona Ice will have their regular snow cones. So if you do not like pickles, there will be plenty of stuff for you to also eat, and then also plenty of fun to be had. I mean, you don't have to like pickles to enjoy jumping in a bouncy house if you're a kid. I can't. My equilibrium will not allow.
It's one of the best like weekends that I had last year. Just coming out in the nice like spring weather and enjoying pickles. And I will say like the pickle slushy is really great on a hot summer day or hot spring day. Like it just totally revitalized me after the fact. My dad had always told me like drink pickle juice.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said my dad always was like drink pickle juice after a workout, and I never took him seriously. And
yeah, well, it's in our alma mater, but it's also a proven fact. All the electrolytes and things, the pickle juice helps with cramps and whatnot, but it is actually a refreshing thing to have, and so there is something really good about it. Like just having that pickle slushy or the pickle snow cone is, very refreshing.
So just to remind everybody, I want to make sure, since we've had a nice free-ranging talk here, can you tell us when events kick off? And this will be again at Avery Trace Middle School in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yes, so it's this Saturday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. There is a vendor that will have a kind of a Star Wars themed pickle shirt. They have Darth Vader as a pickle, I think. I don't know, but anyways, you can come and see. But yeah, it's May the 4th, Avery Trace Middle School Sports Fields. It starts at 10 o'clock and ends at 3 this year. most of the competitions are kind of between 11 and 1. So I think this is off the top of my head, but the pickle juice drinking competition, I believe, is at 11. And then the eating competitions are at 12. And I will say last year, we spoke about the numbers that came out, but most vendors were completely not prepared for the numbers of people. And a lot of them were sold out by like, almost 12 o'clock. Like a lot of them were completely sold out. So I would say try to get there early to make sure you get all the choice of the pickle products. But yeah, that's it. And then we will announce the best of the fest right near the end and announce the winners of those and give them their awards. So yeah.
And admission is free, but obviously the products themselves cost money. You're just not going to have a free buffet here or anything like that.
Yeah, so it's free admission. So you get in completely free, and then you spend your money however you want there, or don't spend any money. There you can still have a great time if you don't spend any money, I think. And there will be samples and things that you could try. I would say bring cash because a lot of the food trucks and things will have the electronic version, but a lot of the vendors, some of them are just even our school sports and clubs that are going to have booths this year. So they will be needing cash. But the good thing about it too is it's a fundraiser. So anything that is related to the Pickle Club, like that money will go back to the sports fields. But the vendors all pay a vendor fee, and then they keep whatever they make on the day. And so all of our different clubs and sports who will be set up, they also are raising for their specific programs, which is cool.
Yeah, and I think like it's a really great structure because you're giving a lot of these small local businesses an opportunity to bring on one of the reasons I went to the Glass Tangerine, which is this amazing flower shop and gardening shop in Cookeville, is I got their business card last year at the festival, and I really had no idea that they even existed. So you're helping with that, and then you're also helping with the school. So I can't stress enough what a fantastic time this is for our viewers in Nashville. So Ryan, I will see you on Saturday morning bright and early, and good luck, and I hope you get some rest between now and the event.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure to have you out at the school last year, and it's a pleasure to see you. Good to see you again, and I look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
All right. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too.
And yes, I will be there bright and early to meet Baby Gherkin tomorrow. So again, ATMS Pickle Club Festival starts at 10 a.m. at Avery Trace Middle School, and I promise it's going to be an excellent time. So before we get to our film rundown today, I did want to briefly talk about a book review that I wrote in this morning's edition of the Pamphleteer on Dave Verhagen's How White Evangelicals Think. And this was a book that came out in 2022 and got a lot of attention in the Tennessean, but I wanted to review it because of the fact that it is a local Nashville author, and also because it is sort of wading into this debate about Christian nationalism that is looking like it's going to be one of the primary issues of the 2024 election season. So you can go to the Pamphleteer's website. You can look at the newsletter today. If you're not subscribing to the newsletter, sign up and you can read my thoughts on the book. But again, I promised a fun show. I promised a reprieve from politics and that kind of cultural criticism today. So after you get your pickles this weekend, it's a good time to go see a movie. As Ryan said, this is Star Wars Day tomorrow. May the 4th be with you. And there's a lot of Star Wars related opportunities that are happening this weekend if you're really, really, really into Star Wars. The first one is, and it's a little bit out of left field, but not really, because it is the 25th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. So that movie will be showing all week long in theaters. And I don't know. I mean, I saw this movie when I was a kid. It seems to be kind of like the George W. Bush of Star Wars movies, and that when it was happening, when this entire trilogy was happening, nobody really liked it. People were really mad about it. And then now suddenly it's kind of repaired its reputation. You might remember this is the Jar Jar Binks movie, and there's been a lot of talk about that actor and the hate that actor had and the psychological implications of that. So I don't really know that I want to go see Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace this weekend, but if you're a Star Wars person, have at it. There might be some really good nostalgia factor. if you're a really, 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 really big Star Wars fan, you've got a Star Wars tattoo, you got some like R2D2s on your car, theaters this weekend have a major treat for you because I think starting at 8 o'clock tonight, they are going to be showing all 9 films in the Skywalker saga. For those that are uninitiated, the Skywalker saga is the prequel movies that George Lucas made in the late 90s, early 2000s, the original Star Wars trilogy that ended in 1983, and then the more recent movies that have caused a firestorm of critics from both the left and the right. So if you want to put all of that aside and go see a lot of Star Wars movies, have at it this weekend. It is really cool that our movie theaters are providing this sense of community for people. And yeah, we can watch these on streaming. We can watch them on Disney Plus. You can watch your Blu-rays or your 4K restored versions, but there is nothing like seeing a movie like this in theaters. And I will say, I went to go see Alien, the 45th anniversary, late last night. I caught the last screening of that movie. I've seen Alien so many times, but it was amazing watching a movie like that with an audience and seeing what those practical effects looked like at the time and how well they hold up today and how that movie is much better than 90% of the stuff that Hollywood is churning out today. So go have a communal experience at the movie theater this weekend, especially if you're one of those Star Wars people. So now that we've got that out of the way, may the 4th be with you. Last week was Alien Day. Let's talk about some of the movies that are actually opening. This week marks the second week in a row that one of the most anticipated films of the year for me is coming out, and that is The Fall Guy, directed by David Leitch, who was the director of Atomic Blonde and the first John Wick movie. So this movie is based on the 1980s TV series, kind of. But it's basically about a stuntman played by Ryan Gosling, fresh off learning that he is Knuff. And Emily Blunt plays a director, and they get caught up in sort of this kidnapping scandal with an actor. There's all kinds of stunts. It's an action comedy. People think this movie is either going to do really great this weekend, up to $50 million, but might gross a little bit less. It's kind of been a joke in the trade publications. But I think this movie is going to have a lot of legs. The reviews since South by Southwest have shown that it is really, really a blast. Audiences seem to love it. I think this one's going to be around for a while. And I'm really glad an original, as much as we can say original if it's based on an 80s TV series, but a non-sequel, non-Marvel movie, non-DC movie that has actors in it, that has a point, that's engaging some stuff, is going to be showing this weekend and kicking off our summer movie season. We've got a lot of really great movies looking forward to, and we're going to talk about that in the future, but The Fall Guy seems like a great way to kick off the summer, so I'm definitely going to be in the audience. I might even go to the 4D or the IMAX version of this film during the week. So I definitely want to make a plug for seeing The Fall Guy. I think it's going to be a really, really great film. We also have a couple of other films opening this weekend that are at the Belcourt. They might not be as widely known as some of the other ones, but they look like they're going to be a really good time as well. So one of them is Omen. This is not the first Omen. This is not a re-release of The Omen. This is a completely new story. It's been a big buzz getter at a lot of festivals. And it's about 4 characters who are accused of witchcraft and how they navigate the, quote, African phantasmagoria in one of the most visually striking and buzziest festival titles in quite some time. So this is playing at the Belcourt. I think it's got a very limited run. It started on Wednesday, and it will be concluding on Sunday. But the reviews for this have been fantastic. I'm really excited to see it. If you just look at the trailer that Geneva is playing here and look at the distributor Utopia, who's done a lot of really great films lately, this one looks like it's going to be one of those independent films, one of those foreign films that really is going to be talked about for a long time. So I'm hoping to have that memory of seeing this in a theater when it first came out. So we also have a fair amount of other openings. For my Johnny Depp fans out there, we have Jean Dubarry. Johnny Depp plays Louis XV, and he gets caught up in a love affair with a social climber. And no, we are not talking about Amber Heard. This movie's not gotten great reviews. Johnny Depp made it in France. There's still a lot of that. Is Johnny Depp ever going to sort of have his comeback and pure Ben Affleck style. We don't know. This one looks like it could be interesting. My guess is it's at like a 40 something on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think a lot of that is just blowback to Johnny Depp. A lot of the reviews that I've read have not been very convincing that this is a bad movie of any kind. You saw that it opened the Cannes Film Festival, and we all know the French are pretty protective of movies starring Americans about France. I mean, we remember what happened to Marie Antoinette and all the booze in 2006, even though that's an amazing movie. So I would say give this one a shot. If anything, it's going to be great to see Johnny Depp back on screen again after sort of the career decline that he's had in the Amber Heard trial. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. Another offering at the Belcourt this week is Martin Scorsese's After Hours. Now, everybody knows Scorsese. Not everybody knows that Scorsese made things other than gangster pictures. And After Hours is a movie that came out in the mid-1980s starring Griffin Dunne, and it takes place all in one night. The Belcourt's doing this really great series of movies that take place over the course of one night. And Griffin Dunne is just like, he's a word processor. He's just trying to get back to his apartment in this crazy night in Manhattan. This is a pretty big departure for Martin Scorsese. You know, in the 80s, he made these movies like this, and King of Comedy, you see this as a 4K restoration. And I'm going to be looking forward to this. I haven't seen this since like a cruddy DVD copy back in college. So this one looks like it's going to be a really great offering this weekend at the Belcourt. We also have some other movies that I'm not quite sure about, but thought I would go ahead and mention. For fans of game adaptations like Ouija and Truth or Dare, this week brings us Tarot. Wide release in theaters. It's about a group of 20-somethings who play with the wrong tarot card deck. Geneva, can you show that Rotten Tomatoes rating real quick? It's this one is might not be the studio sending their best, but I get a kick sometimes out of these movies that have like single-digit Rotten ratings because sometimes they're a lot better. I'm probably going to see this at some point. It looks like it could be kind of a fun ride, but please take that with a grain of salt, clearly, because of the fact that we see the Rotten Tomatoes rating right there. The other movie that I want to talk about this week is called Stress Positions. And this is actually something that I'm going to be talking about in a future article for the Pamphleteer, but COVID movies haven't really done well. There's not been a good COVID film. As somebody that programs a film festival, I can say that there are so many attempts to make a COVID film and they just don't work. And maybe that's because we all went through it. But this film in particular wowed people at Sundance. And it's about a hipster that's caring for his famous model nephew after he breaks his leg in a scooter accident. And all of these people keep coming to see this guy during the pandemic. It takes place in New York City. And more importantly, I think for us, is it stars actor John Early, who actually is from Nashville. And all throughout the weekend, John Early is going to be at the screenings of this film that are happening at the Belcourt, because that is the place that it is exclusively playing. And he's going to be doing a Q&A. I will say, and I haven't mentioned this on the show yet, but the Belcourt's got a lot of events coming up with special guests. You all might have seen that Ethan Hawke will be here next Wednesday for the premiere of his Flannery O'Connor movie Wildcat. The only reason I didn't put that on the rundown is because of the fact that those shows have sold out very quickly. But I will be there and I will be reporting on that event for the Pamphleteer next week. So there might not be as many offerings as normal. We might have to take a little nostalgic Star Wars trip to the past if you're not into seeing The Fall Guy or not into seeing Omen. But we got a lot coming up this week, especially if it stays as rainy as it is today. So that ends our weekly film rundown. And in the future, we're going to be talking about this upcoming summer movie season, some of the controversies. We got a couple book reviews coming up we'll be talking about. And as always, we're going to have a host of authors and creative types on the show. So whatever you do this weekend, give it some thought. This is me signing off, and have a good one. Stay dry.